What happens when a royal guest mistakes a warm welcome for a red carpet to disrespect? In just 37 seconds, one comment turned a friendly interview into the most shocking meltdown daytime television has ever witnessed. Kelly Clarkson sat in her studio chair, smiling at the cameras as the audience settled into their seats. The energy in the room was buzzing. Her next guest was someone everyone knew, someone the whole world had watched grow up in the spotlight. Prince Harry was scheduled to talk about his latest charitable work, and the producers promised it would be an inspiring conversation. Kelly looked at the camera with that genuine warmth she's known for. "All right, everyone, please welcome my next guest," she said, her voice filled with enthusiasm. The audience erupted into applause as Prince Harry walked onto the stage. He smiled and waved, but there was something different about his demeanor. Something a little cold. He sat down across from Kelly and barely made eye contact. "Thank you so much for being here," Kelly said, still keeping that bright energy. "I've been looking forward to this conversation all week." Harry nodded, his expression flat. "Right. Let's get started then." Kelly paused for just a moment, caught off guard by the tone, but she pushed forward like the professional she is. "So, you've been doing some incredible work with your foundation. Tell us about what inspired this new initiative." Harry leaned back in his chair, crossing his arms. "Well, Kelly, I think what inspired it is something you probably wouldn't understand. It takes a certain level of awareness to see what's really happening in the world. Not everyone has that." The audience went quiet. Kelly's smile faltered for a split second, but she recovered quickly. "I think a lot of people care deeply about making a difference. That's actually why I wanted to have you on, to share your message with everyone watching." "Sure," Harry said, his voice dripping with condescension. "But there's caring, and then there's actually doing something meaningful. I've dedicated my entire life to service. Real service. Not just showing up for a photo opportunity." Kelly's face remained calm, but you could see something shift in her eyes. She wasn't going to let that slide. "Well, I think a lot of people, including myself, try to use whatever platform we have to help others. That's what we're doing right now, actually. Giving you a platform to share your work." Harry laughed, but it wasn't a friendly laugh. It was dismissive. "A platform? Kelly, do you know who I am? I don't need your platform. I was doing important work while you were singing on a reality show." The gasp from the audience was audible. Kelly sat up straighter, her jaw tightening. "Excuse me?" "You heard me," Harry continued, his voice rising. "Let's be honest about what this is. You want me here because my name brings viewers. You want the ratings boost. But don't pretend like you're doing me some kind of favor." Kelly took a deep breath, and when she spoke, her voice was steady but firm. "Actually, Harry, I invited you here because I thought you had something valuable to share. I thought you wanted to talk about causes that matter to you. But if you're just going to sit here and insult me and everyone who works on this show, then maybe we need to reconsider this conversation." Harry scoffed. "Reconsider? That's rich coming from someone who's never had to reconsider anything in their comfortable little bubble." "Comfortable bubble?" Kelly's voice had an edge now. "Do you know anything about my life? About where I came from? About what I've been through?" "I know you've made a career out of being relatable," Harry shot back, "but let's not confuse relatability with actual substance. What have you really sacrificed? What have you really given up?" The audience was completely silent now. You could feel the tension radiating through the studio. Kelly's producer stood up from her seat off camera, clearly concerned about where this was heading. Kelly leaned forward, looking directly at Harry. "I'm going to give you a chance right now to take a breath and reset this conversation. Because what you're doing right now, this isn't okay." Harry stood up, his face flushed with anger. "You're going to give me a chance? Who do you think you are?" "I'm the host of this show," Kelly said, standing up to match him. "And I've been nothing but respectful to you since you walked out here. I don't know what's going on with you today, but you don't get to come into my house and treat me like this." "Your house?" Harry's voice was getting louder. This is a television studio, Kelly. You don't own anything. You're just another face reading lines off a prompter. Kelly's face went red. The audience started murmuring. Some people looking uncomfortable, others looking angry on Kelly's behalf. That's enough, Kelly said, her voice cutting through the noise. I have sat here and tried to have a respectful conversation with you. I've given you every opportunity to talk about your work, to share your message, to connect with people who actually care. And you've done nothing but insult me, insult this show, and insult everyone who works here. Harry pointed his finger at her. You have no idea what real pressure is. No idea what it's like to live under constant scrutiny. You wake up every day and people love you because you sing songs and smile pretty for the camera. Try living my life for one day. Kelly shook her head, her voice rising to match his energy. You don't know anything about my life, Harry. You don't know what I've been through or what kind of scrutiny I've faced. But here's the difference between us right now. I'm not using my pain or my struggles as an excuse to be cruel to other people. Cruel? Harry laughed bitterly. I'm being honest. Maybe that's something you're not used to in this fake world you've built for yourself. Honest? Kelly's eyes were blazing now. You think being rude is the same as being honest? You think tearing someone down makes you authentic? That's not honesty, Harry. That's just being mean. Harry stepped closer to her chair. I came here to talk about important issues, issues that actually matter, but all you want to do is have some cutesy little chat and make everything comfortable for your audience. Kelly stood her ground. I invited you here to have a real conversation, but you walked out here with an attitude from the very first second. You didn't give this a chance. You didn't give me a chance. You came here looking for a fight. Maybe I did, Harry said, his voice cold, because I'm tired of people like you pretending to care about things that matter when really you're just trying to boost your ratings and sell your merchandise. The audience was getting restless now. Some people were booing. Others were calling out for Harry to leave. Kelly raised her hand to calm them down. Let me be very clear about something, Kelly said, her voice steady and strong. I work hard every single day to create a show that brings people joy, that shares important stories, that gives people a platform to be heard. I'm proud of what we do here, and I'm not going to stand here and let you diminish that. Harry rolled his eyes. Of course you're proud. Everyone tells you how great you are all the time. You have no concept of real criticism. Real criticism? Kelly's voice cracked slightly, emotion breaking through. Harry, I've faced criticism my entire career. I've been judged for my weight, my voice, my choices, my personal life. I've had people tear me apart in ways you couldn't imagine. But I learned something from all of that. I learned that hurting people doesn't make you strong. It doesn't make you right. It just makes you someone who hurts people. Harry crossed his arms again. Spare me the after-school special speech, Kelly. I've heard it. All before. Kelly nodded slowly, and when she spoke next, her voice was calm but final. I think we're done here. What? Harry looked genuinely surprised. I said we're done, Kelly repeated. This interview is over. I'm not going to continue this conversation when you clearly have no interest in being respectful. Harry's face turned red. You can't just end the interview. I'm your guest. You were my guest, Kelly corrected him. But you stopped acting like a guest the moment you started attacking me. You're not here to share anything meaningful. You're just here to make yourself feel superior by putting someone else down. And I'm not going to be part of that. Harry looked around at the audience, many of whom were now openly booing him. This is ridiculous. You're being completely unprofessional. Kelly actually laughed at that. I'm being unprofessional? Harry, listen to yourself. You came on the show and insulted me. Insulted my career. Insulted everything I've built. You've been condescending and rude from the moment you sat down. And now You want to call me unprofessional because I'm not willing to sit here and take it anymore? I have every right to express my opinion, Harry argued. You do, Kelly agreed. But I also have every right to decide who sits in that chair. And right now, I'm deciding it's not going to be you. Harry's mouth opened and closed. He clearly hadn't expected this. You're really going to kick me off your show? Kelly looked him right in the eyes. Yes, I am. Because this is my show, Harry. These are my people. This is my crew who works incredibly hard every single day. And I protect what's mine. I protect the people I care about. And I'm not going to let anyone, no matter who they are or what title they have, come in here and treat us like we're beneath them. Harry shook his head in disbelief. This is going to make you look terrible. Maybe it will, Kelly said with a shrug. But I can live with that. Can you live with how you acted today? Can you look at yourself and feel good about coming onto someone's show and treating them the way you treated me? Harry didn't answer. He just stared at her, his face a mixture of anger and something else. Maybe embarrassment. Maybe shame. I didn't think so, Kelly said quietly. I think it's time for you to go. The audience started clapping. Not the polite applause from the beginning of the show, but real, supportive applause for Kelly standing up for herself. Harry looked around the studio, seeming to realize for the first time that he'd completely lost the room. Every face was looking at him with disappointment or anger or disgust. Fine, he said, his voice tight. I don't need this anyway. Then we agree on something, Kelly said. Harry turned to walk off the stage, but then he spun back around. You know what your problem is, Kelly. You're too soft, too afraid of conflict. That's why you'll never be more than what you are right now. Kelly smiled, but there was no warmth in it. And you know what your problem is, Harry. You think being cruel makes you strong. You think putting other people down lifts you up. But all it does is show everyone who you really are. And right now, what we're seeing isn't a prince. It's just a person who forgot how to be kind. That hit hard. You could see it on Harry's face. For a second, just a second, the mask slipped, and something vulnerable showed through. But then it was gone, replaced by that cold anger again. Goodbye, Kelly, he said, his voice icy. Goodbye, Harry, she replied. Harry walked off the stage, his footsteps echoing in the silent studio. No one clapped. No one said goodbye. They just watched him go. Kelly stood there for a moment, taking a deep breath. Then she turned to the audience, and her face transformed. The tension melted away, and that genuine warmth came back. Well, she said, and the audience laughed nervously. That was not how I expected this. Afternoon to go. The laughter got louder, more relaxed. People started clapping again, this time just for Kelly. You know what, though? Kelly continued. I think there's something important in what just happened, because we all face moments where someone tries to make us feel small, where someone tries to use their power, or their position, or their pain to hurt us. And we have to decide in those moments who we're going to be. The audience was hanging on every word. Are we going to shrink? Kelly asked. Are we going to accept treatment that we don't deserve because we're afraid of conflict or afraid of what people might think? Or are we going to stand up and say, no, this isn't okay. I deserve respect. We all deserve respect. The applause was thunderous now. People were standing up, cheering for Kelly. I came to work today excited to have a good conversation, Kelly said, her voice getting a little emotional. I wanted to help share a message that could make a difference. But instead, I got to learn something about myself. I got to learn that I'm stronger than I thought I was, that I can stand up for myself and for my team, even when it's scary, even when it's uncomfortable. She wiped at her eyes quickly. And I hope if you're watching this at home and you're in a situation where someone is treating you badly, where someone is making you feel less than you are, I hope you know that you can stand up too. You can say no. You can walk away. You can protect yourself." The audience was on their feet now, everyone clapping and cheering. Kelly smiled through her tears. "Okay, I need a minute to pull myself together. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, I promise we'll have a much better energy in here. Maybe I'll just sing something. That usually makes me feel better." The audience laughed and clapped as the cameras cut away. But in that moment, standing on that stage after one of the most uncomfortable confrontations in talk show history, Kelly Clarkson proved something important. She proved that kindness isn't weakness, that standing up for yourself doesn't mean you have to be cruel, that you can be strong and gracious at the same time. Behind the scenes, Kelly's team rushed to her side. Her producer hugged her tight. "That was incredible," she whispered. "You handled that perfectly." Kelly hugged her back. "I can't believe that just happened." "Believe it," another producer said, "and believe that you did the right thing. Nobody gets to treat you like that. Nobody." Kelly nodded, taking deep breaths to calm herself down. Her hands were shaking slightly from the adrenaline. "Is he gone?" she asked. "Security escorted him out," the producer confirmed. "He's not in the building anymore." Kelly felt her shoulders relax a little. "Good. I don't understand what happened. What did I do? Why did he come out here so angry?" Her makeup artist handed her a tissue. "You didn't do anything, honey. That wasn't about you. That was about whatever he's dealing with. You just happened to be the target." "Well, I'm glad I didn't just sit there and take it," Kelly said firmly. "Even if it makes me look bad. Even if people criticize me for it. I couldn't just sit there." "Nobody's going to criticize you," her producer assured her. "Everyone in this audience saw what happened. Everyone watching is going to see what happened. You gave him every chance to be respectful. You tried to redirect the conversation multiple times. You were nothing but professional until you absolutely had to draw a line." Kelly looked out at the audience, who were chatting amongst themselves during the break. Some were looking at her with such supportive expressions, it made her want to cry all over again. "They're amazing," she said softly. "They love you," her producer said. "And after today, they're going to love you even more, because you showed them what it looks like to have boundaries, what it looks like to value yourself." The stage manager called out, "2 minutes until we're back." Kelly straightened her shoulders, checked her reflection in the monitor, and took one more deep breath. "Okay, let's finish this show strong." And that's exactly what she did. When the cameras came back on, Kelly sang a powerful song that had the whole audience on their feet. She laughed with her crew. She took questions from audience members about their favorite moments from the show. She turned what could have been a disaster into a triumph, because that's who Kelly Clarkson is. Someone who doesn't let the hard moments define her. Someone who chooses kindness even when she's been hurt. Someone who stands up for herself and then moves forward with grace. The rest of the show went smoothly. Kelly's natural charisma and warmth filled the studio, washing away the ugliness of the earlier confrontation. By the time the final credits rolled, the audience was smiling and energized, not dwelling on the drama, but celebrating the resilience they'd witnessed. As Kelly thanked everyone for watching and waved goodbye, she felt something shift inside her. What started as one of the worst moments of her career had somehow transformed into one of her proudest. Not because of the conflict, but because of how she handled it. She didn't sink to his level. She didn't match cruelty with cruelty. She simply said, "Enough is enough," drew her line, and stuck to it. And in doing that, she'd given everyone watching permission to do the same in their own lives. Later, in her dressing room, Kelly sat quietly for a moment. Her phone was already blowing up with messages from friends and family who'd watched the show. Messages of support. Messages of pride. Messages saying they couldn't believe how well she handled such a difficult situation. She smiled, feeling genuinely at peace with what had transpired. Yes, it was uncomfortable. Yes, it was unexpected. but she'd shown up as her authentic self, protected her boundaries, and maintained her integrity throughout. And really, that's all anyone can do. The interview that was supposed to be about charity work and positive initiatives had turned into something else entirely. It became a masterclass in self-respect, a demonstration of what it means to stand firm in your values even when someone is trying to tear you down. Kelly had walked into that studio expecting a pleasant conversation. She'd prepared questions about Harry's foundation work, about his vision for making a difference, about the causes close to his heart. Instead, she got hostility and condescension from the very first exchange. But she didn't shrink. She didn't apologize for things that weren't her fault. She didn't try to smooth things over at the expense of her own dignity. She gave him chances to course correct, to remember basic human decency, to treat her with the respect she deserved. When he refused, she made the hard choice. The choice that might get criticized. The choice that might be controversial. But also the choice that was right. Because at the end of the day, how we let people treat us sets the standard for how we value ourselves. And Kelly values herself too much to accept being diminished by anyone, regardless of their title or status. The lesson from that heated afternoon was simple but profound. Your worth is not determined by how others treat you. Your worth is determined by how you respond when others try to treat you poorly. And Kelly's response was clear. She deserves respect. Her team deserves respect. And she's willing to make uncomfortable decisions to ensure that respect is maintained. That's real strength. Not the performative kind that comes from putting others down. Not the false confidence that requires making others feel small. But the quiet, steady strength that comes from knowing your value and refusing to compromise on it. The confrontation lasted less than 15 minutes from start to finish. But in those 15 minutes, Kelly Clarkson showed millions of viewers what courage looks like in real time. It's not loud or aggressive. It's calm and clear. It's saying, this is the line, and I'm not moving it, no matter who you are. Harry walked onto that stage looking for someone to take his frustrations out on. He chose the wrong person. Because Kelly had spent years building her strength, not through privilege or power, but through resilience and authenticity. She knew who she was, and nobody, not even a prince, was going to make her forget that.